My mom passed away 5 years ago, and I think of her every day. My dad went through a really bad depression, and I had to take care of myself, basically. During the Christmas holidays, my dad told me that he had been seeing someone for a while. I noticed that he was happier, and I guess I was happy for him. I didn't want him to be lonely forever, but I did feel like my mom was being erased completely. He never wanted to talk about her, and he got rid of all pictures with her in them. He said that his GF will be spending Christmas with us, and then moving in. I wasn't happy at all. I don't even know her, but I didn't say anything. I met her on Christmas, and usually my dad and I put the star on the tree that day. We would put the star on the tree and watch The Grinch. It's our tradition, and we kept it even when we were grieving my mom. It's the only tradition from when she was with us that we actually kept. When his girlfriend came over, he put the star on with her while I was in the bathroom. Also, we didn't watch The Grinch because she hates it. I know I sound spoiled and childish, but I was so angry. We've been doing this my whole life, and she just came in and destroyed it. The whole night she didn't even bother getting to know me at all. She was all over my dad and pretty much ignored me. I told my dad about how upset I was about our tradition, and he said I should grow up and that things change. I didn't like her because she gave me a bad feeling, so I never got close to her. She complained to my dad about it, and he got mad at me for not making her feel welcomed. I felt bad because she makes my dad really happy, so I tried being more friendly with her. In front of my dad, she was nice to me, but when we were alone, she ignored me or spoke to me with attitude. She even told me that I was a brat and I make my dad's life harder. I told him, but he didn't believe me and yelled at me for trying to sabotage his relationship. He said that I wanted him to die alone and be sad and that I was selfish. I was so shocked because none of it is true. My dad basically treated me like I wasn't there at all after that. I felt like I did when my mom died, all alone. I stayed up really late one night because I just couldn't sleep and wanted to sneak in a midnight snack. The GF was in the kitchen on FaceTime, so I decided to be nosy and listen. She was talking about my dad and how much she loves him. Then she said that he had this dumb daughter, and she wondered if it was too late for adoption. Her and her friend laughed at that. She said that I was a little bitch, and she hated me. Her friend then said something about boarding school or military school, but I left, so I didn't hear the rest. I was so exhausted from all the crying I did, so I actually slept. I didn't tell my dad, and I don't even know if I should, since he probably won't believe me. I really miss my mom. I kinda want to go live with my grandparents, mom's parents now, but I don't want my dad to think that I'm leaving him. What do I do? Can I even do anything? How do I get my dad to listen to me? Would I be wrong for leaving? Update. Hi. Since my last post, I spoke to my grandparents and told them everything. I asked if I could stay with them if I wanted to, and they agreed. I then spoke to my dad again and tried to tell him how I felt and what I had heard. I didn't want to film or record because I knew that he would be mad at that and wouldn't listen. He didn't believe me again and thought that I was jealous of having to share him with someone else. I got upset and told him that I was leaving so he could live happily ever after without the burden of having me around. He looked shocked, but didn't say anything. I had already packed my bags and had brought some things to my grandparents' house already. My dad didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. My grandfather picked me up, and I've been there since. I haven't gone home, and I haven't heard from my dad. My grandparents told me that they would handle my dad and that I shouldn't have to be the one doing it. I'm upset that my dad hasn't called or texted me once to see if I'm okay. At the same time, I'm feeling so much better being with my grandparents. My grandmother is probably the sweetest person ever, and my grandfather is a little rough around the edges, but he's really a softie. Update 2. My dad came to visit me at my grandparents' place to talk to me. He brought his girlfriend with him. He said, "GF and I have been talking, and we decided that it's best that you stay here." My dad said that I can come clean out my room completely and he'll help. He also said that after I get my things, we should also take a break from each other and reevaluate things in a few months, or however long it takes. His GF then said something about how she'll take care of my dad for me. In a few days, I'll be going over with my grandparents to get my stuff. We'll also be getting the important papers that some of you have mentioned. It doesn't look like I'll be going home anytime soon. I have a new home now, I guess. TBH. I have been feeling pretty bad about some of the comments, specifically the ones saying that since I probably remind him of my mom, that's why he's like that with me. He got rid of everything of my mom's, and I was the last piece of my mom, so it makes sense he doesn't want me anymore. I really wish she was still here. I think he wants to start over, and I wasn't part of that plan. So, I guess that's it. Thank you for all the kind comments. Story 2. AET for making fun of my partner's hair loss? Title sounds bad, I know. This has been an ongoing argument between my partner and I for almost 6 months now. I feel like I'll never hear the end of it. Backstory: I, 23F, am a naturally fair-skinned girl. I'm also cursed with pretty dark body hairs, which makes upkeep a complete pain. I shave my legs, and 2 days later, I have dark prickles of hair that I can't shave again for 1.5 weeks or so without causing some pretty painful razor burn. It is something that has bothered me for a long time, as it takes away a lot of my freedom in the warmer seasons, and I have to pick and choose what events I can show my legs at. This year, I was invited to go with my 28 main partner to his family's Christmas Day lunch, which I was pretty excited for. A few days before the lunch, my partner and I were also invited to a New Year's Day pool party at his friend's place. Southern Hemisphere for anyone confused here. Of course, this filled me with dread, because I knew that by this point my legs would look freaking terrible in a swimsuit. I decided to go to both, and found a gorgeous summer maxi dress to wear for New Year's Day. I thought I'd just relax by the pool on the banana lounge, and also help the host organize the BBQ lunch. After the lunch, I was laying out with a few of the other ladies, while our partners were all mucking about in the pool doing cannonballs. My friend's partner, 25 Mare, asked why I wasn't swimming, and I let him know I just wasn't feeling like it that day, and I'd rather lay in the shade. At this point, my partner got back out of the pool, and I assumed he was going to jump back in like usual. Instead, he came over to me, lifted up the bottom of my dress, revealing my legs, and exclaimed, "She isn't swimming today 'cause she is as hairy as a fucking bear." I grabbed my dress and pulled it back down, quite embarrassed, and shot him a very angry look. There was a few chuckles, but mostly awkward silence. I was mortified. He knows how self-conscious I am about this. In my anger, I then bit back and said, "Maybe we can transplant some of my leg hair to that nice bald patch you've been brewing?" This was also met with a few chuckles, followed by even more awkward silence. My partner then stormed off from the pool and went inside to get dry. He got changed into his dry clothes and came out and said that we're leaving. I felt really bad, especially for the hosts, so I apologized to them and said they could keep my salad bowls I had bought over. My partner and I have never spoken about his hair loss before. When I said this, I did know that it likely bothered him, being that I found photos on his phone of him taking pictures of the top of his head, where the hair loss has started. I just felt it was hypocritical that he could create that whole situation, and my insecurity wasn't off limits, but his is. I know I didn't handle myself the best here. Aita? Edit. Wow, this seriously blew up, thanks to all of the lovely women who took the time to leave some tips or open up to me in the DMs. I couldn't fit this in the post, but I just had my 4th laser hair removal session, and my legs are already remotely hairless. I have a few sporadic patches where I still get really thin hair, and some hair follicles still haven't dropped. I have 6 sessions left, so I would have to say it's a successful story. In regards to my partner, I'm going to try and have an open conversation with him one more time. My intention is to either communicate and clear the air, or I will be leaving him. I won't be telling him that second part, obviously, LOL. Not sure if I should show this to him yet. Update. Update for everyone. I sat him down when we both finished work, and he came over just a little over an hour ago. It was a very short conversation. I started the conversation by stating that I would like to clear the air and resentment in the relationship. His response to this was, "Are you going to finally apologize?" I just about died inside. I asked him what I should be apologizing for, and he said the comments I made about his hair at the New Year's party. I then suggested that perhaps we should apologize in sequence of events, so he should go first, LMAO. He said that there is no way he is apologizing me after what I said because I crossed a line. I asked him, what about him crossing the line with my boundaries and humiliating me? He said it isn't the same because I could have just shaved it off and be done with it, whereas his situation could be permanent. I said that my situation would have remained permanent if I didn't do something about it. He then went quiet and started to shut down, telling me he doesn't want to talk. I told him I don't want his company if he can't have an adult open conversation with me. He left. I will be dumping him tomorrow. I didn't sign adoption papers. I never wanted this man baby.